Now, this is a topic which I've been thinking about for quite a long while. I even talked about it in one of my prior live streams as well. And now, after One Piece chapter 1024, I think that the discussion for this is definitely going to happen. But even before this chapter actually came out, I really thought a lot about this topic, and I even was going to make a video talking about the proper moment where this might eventually come true. But now that we have chapter 1024 in hindsight, let's just talk about God D Usopp, or I know I'm joking, but God Usopp's Conqueror's Haki, or let's just say God's Haki, because things are about to get very interesting. So hello and welcome to Wonder WhyZ, and thank you so much for joining in. In this video we're gonna talk about Usopp and where exactly can he manifest his Conqueror's Haki, because in One Piece chapter 1024 he makes a joke about it and he essentially tells lies about it, and as we know in One Piece, Usopp's lies always come true. That is quite literally a defining characteristic of his character, so there's no doubt about it that Oda literally just planned this right here, and he's just making a foreshadow about this here. We're gonna come back to this chapter say in the next 4 or 5 years, and Usopp is definitely going to get Conqueror's Haki sometime in the future. But the most important question here is how, why and when. So let's just talk about that, but before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to the channel, since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other stuff. A like and sub really helps the channel, and it just pushes the YouTube algorithm to get you more of my content on your feed. With that being said, let's begin the video. So, in One Piece chapter 1024, Usopp introduces himself in a black silhouette, and he is basically taking the advantage of the situation, where on the other hand, Big Mom is fighting and she's using her Conqueror's Haki, and because of this, her Conqueror's Haki is getting an echoed effect, and as a direct result of it, the enemies are dropping down one by one. But Usopp is basically a cunning person, he's really a smart person, and he perfectly utilizes this entire situation, and he just ensures fear in the minds of the enemies when he says that he's the one who has slayed 2 members of the Flying Six, and therefore he's Usohachi, the Beast Hunters, and people who do not have strong will are always going to fall in front of him because he can also use Conqueror's Haki. He is the Supreme King in that particular sense. That is essentially the core joke in the beginning of this chapter, and later on we learn that it's obviously something which is done by none other than Big Mom. But we already know that Usopp's lies are a constant string of things which are going to come true or become true in the future of the series, and eventually towards the end of the series he is definitely going to become a brave warrior of the sea. So because of this, I can say with 100% confirmation that sometime down the road, Usopp is definitely going to get his share of Conqueror's Haki, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant, because let's not forget the fact that Conqueror's Haki manifests at the time of extreme desire and extreme distress. We have seen it with a lot of different characters. I'm not saying that it's the same case for everyone else, but it's just mostly a thread of things which happens for most of the characters, be it Luffy, be it Doflamingo, or even, as we saw in the latest chapter, Yamato as well. So a dire moment of distress is essentially like a catalyst for the usage, or rather the discovery and awakening of Conqueror's Haki or Haoshoku Haki, and therefore I feel like something like this, basically a moment like this, is going to come up very soon for Usopp. Not immediately, because contrary to the popular notion, I don't believe that Usopp is going to awaken it on Elbaf, and he's not even going to unlock it on Laugh Tale. Rather, my guess here is that Usopp is going to awaken his Conqueror's Haki at the very end, that is in the final war against the world government. Now, whether this final war is going to be against the world government or the Blackbeard pirates, that's a topic of discussion for another day. But what I essentially want to say here or showcase here is that Usopp is going to unlock his Conqueror's Haki towards the very end, after he has fulfilled all his other lies, because a very essential or a key factor for the Conqueror's Haki are the qualities of a king, because indeed many of the people who have shown to possess Haoshoku Haki share a royal position or an epitaph or attained some highly respected status which indicates their dominating role. That dominating role is a very key aspect, a very key quality or attribute you could say as the qualities of the Supreme King, which is why the Conqueror's Haki is also called Color of the Supreme King. Now, what have we seen so far for Usopp? He has already become the literal god, not even the king, but the literal god for the people of Dressrosa. I mean, sure, it was a gag scene and whatnot, but that is the truth. He is the person who essentially freed all of these people from their slavery. We have to accept that. We cannot deny that, and that's the reason why he's said to be the god. And these things, these events are only going to continue in the future of the series. I already made a video a couple of days back as to how Usopp is the one who is going to save Onigashima from falling over the flower capital, and these events are just going to continue growing more and more. His name is going to grow more and more as a person who becomes a savior, a masiha for the people. And that is essentially going to be the quality of the king that is necessary here, and that is the quality which is respected by everyone in a dominating sort of role. Sure, Usopp tells lies and whatnot, but that is essentially a key attribute of his character, and that's the aspect which is inevitably going to awaken or unlock his true potential in the form of the Conqueror's Haki. Now, where is that going to happen? I told you all, but how? That's something which is very interesting in my opinion, because I feel like a scenario like this is going to come up which is necessary for him to unlock the powers of the Supreme King. Because so far we have seen it for Luffy, for Doflamingo and even Yamato, that a catalyst is needed. A catalyst, a dire moment is very much needed. For Luffy, we saw this in both Amazon Lily as well as at the Marineford War, that his loved ones or people whom he basically cared about were about to be attacked and killed, and that's when he properly unlocked his Conqueror's Haki. I mean, it was still unconscious for him. He didn't really have proper control over it until he trained with Rayleigh, but that was the moment when he unlocked it. Similarly for Doflamingo, it was his hatred, it was his rage and anger which unlocked the Conqueror's Haki in front of the town people who were trying to kill them or burn them alive. A similar status happened for the other characters as well. We don't really know it for each and every single person, but that is essentially a key attribute or a key catalyst in a way. And something like that might happen for Usopp as well in the final war, when Luffy is knocked unconscious and is about to be killed by either the world government, by Emu, or maybe even the Blackbeard pirates. And all the other Straw Hats are down after facing an immeasurable amount of foe, and it is only Usopp, a heavily damaged, a heavily injured Usopp, who is still currently present in the scene. He has up until that moment fulfilled all his other lies that he has talked about, but two lies are still left. The first one is the fact that he has Conqueror's Haki, and the second lie is essentially the first lie which he ever told, that is basically becoming the brave warrior of the sea. If he's not with Luffy, if he's not able to protect Luffy, he is not going to become the brave warrior of the sea. His dream and Luffy's dream essentially correlates to each other, and they're sort of interdependent on each other. And that's why Usopp is going to use his very last amount of strength in order to save Luffy. But what can he realistically do? He's the sharpshooter of the Straw Hats. He's not going to have immense physical strength to overpower the enemies. Possibly the main monster trio is down, and Luffy is down after facing an immeasurable amount of foes. The only standing person here is Usopp, even though he is highly damaged, and at that close range, he's not going to be able to properly use his sharp shooting skills, and the enemy is almost about to overpower him when he has that moment of stop it right now, in a very similar callback to Luffy during the Marineford War. He is going to unlock his Conqueror's Haki, he's going to save Luffy, and most probably going to faint, because unfortunately for Usopp, I don't really see him surviving the finale of One Piece. If anything, he's the only Straw Hat whom I feel is actually going to die towards the very end, but that's a topic of discussion for another day, if any Straw Hat can actually die towards the ending of One Piece. But basically I feel like this is going to be the key moment for him to unlock the Conqueror's Haki. Let's be real about it, Usopp is definitely going to unlock the Conqueror's Haki. I would be very surprised if he unlocks it before to this moment. You could say that this might happen in Elbaf when he's facing off against his father in the form of Usopp, but I feel like a moment like this is going to be even more impactful if it is done for none other than Luffy. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on this particular matter. What do you guys think about all of these things? Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to hear your opinions as well. With that being said guys, thank you so much for joining in. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. Join the channel membership for some very cool perks and features, and join our Discord server for some very exciting discussions as well. With that being said guys, thank you so much for joining in. This is Wonder WhyZ. See you all on the next one.